political party that is coming about democracy. That's not the way. In some other climes, there are parties that control at the local level. You go to local level, they are the chairman, they are the councillor. That's where they operate. And they are giving the dividends of democracy to their people.
At those levels?
At those levels. You understand? So even when you want to win at the national level, you have to come down to discuss with them. To say, please, we need your support. They know they are not your party member, but they know they are not going to president. They can form this, okay, we'll support you. And they give you their vote. That's how elections, that's how democracies are run. No one party can say, okay, I will run everything. And that is where we are having the challenges, because every governors are truly part of the challenges we are having for our democracy not to thrive, honestly. Because the way they behave, if any president behaves like the way governors behave, you can imagine a local government chairman that passed through the electoral process, was elected by his people. A governor will come and say, I dissolve them. Somebody that is elected just like you are elected, you now say you dissolve them. That is unconstitutional. It is undemocratic. It is not good for our development of our democracy.
It's not because there's a loophole in the Constitution that we have that reality?
Where did I start from? I said the challenge we have is our Constitution.
So the governors are exploiting it?
They are exploiting, yes. When you call a lawyer and I will tell you here, and they exploit it. It is the exploitation of the loopholes in our Constitution, the gaps, that is causing this dwindling democracy that we are operating.
Do you think it's a fundamental error that the president has the prerogative to appoint the chairman of INEC?
Because of the system of government we are running. You know, sometimes you realize that we even missed our system together. Tomorrow we are saying, okay, we are running a presidential system. Then you say yourself a republic. You know, you just mix up a lot of things in one. You understand? Now, if we are running a constitutional, I heard the president say we are running a constitutional government. Yes, okay, if we are running a constitutional government and we want to follow the presidential system like the US we are copying, you will realize that, yes, the president should appoint the chief judge, the chief justice of the federation. He should, or they should even appoint the INEC chairman, you know, through processes. It should, but what we are saying, in electing, we can tweak our laws. That's what, in appointing the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, it must not be left for government alone. Civil society should be involved, because that person must be put through scrutiny to know that does this person have integrity? It doesn't matter who nominates, but does he have the integrity? And if, for instance, the civil society, the media, so many other groups work together and say, no, this man does not have the capacity based on his past record, he cannot truly be unbiased. You understand? Because I tell you, we have principled people in this country. People you will give positions and they will live by the details and mandates of their office. We have them. But unfortunately, we patronize ourselves based on political interest and just to empower my own people. And that's the challenge we have had. The last administration, people were shouting, oh, Tinubu is, Buhari was giving all the appointment to his people. Today, people are also shouting that the current president is giving the appointment to his people.
Lagos boys.
You understand that he's giving the appointment to his people. So, if you look at it, for me, if you say this is a federation, then things should be balanced. Things actually needs to be balanced. Our democracy cannot grow when people feel marginalized, when people feel not carried along, when people are not truly involved in the administrative or the governance of the country. You see, because ideas are diverse. The ideas you have are different from what I have. And if you have tried people around you and you have not getting the result, then why not try others? Because we thought by May 29th, or after then, there will be a rejig of the ministerial cabinet of Mr. President. Because, of course, if you look where, you will see that there are some ministers that will come now, pass you on the way, you don't even know them.
Why? Because they're not
making impact? Because they are not making impact. We are not seeing them. Yes, because nobody will say he doesn't know that we can, and if you live in Abuja, you know that there's a minister here. Of course you know, because there are a lot of things you can see. And then you see, but there are some ministers, they are just talking, they are not doing anything. If you check our roads, you see that the Minister of Works is actually doing some things. You will see. You know, and if you look around, if you check the Ministry of Interior, you will see and hear some of the things he is also doing. You understand? I listened to the Minister of is it Transportation the other day. I was disappointed, honestly. I never even knew he was Minister of Transportation because I don't even till now, I can't remember his name. You know, so I'm talking about us who are here in the city and we're electing. What about the people at the grassroots? You don't know your ministers because they are not performing. If they are performing, you know them. You will know them, even by name. Children will know them. In schools, they know their ministers. But if you go to any class now, just as people in primary 3 say, oh, who is the Minister of FCT? They will shout his name. But as the Minister of Education, they might not even know him. They might not know his name.
There have been calls in recent years that this idea of state independent electoral commission is not working, that in fact is fraudulent and is tied to the apron string of governors, like you mentioned a while ago. On the basis of that, there's not the advocacy call, which has become even more vehement, that INEC should take up the responsibility of conducting elections even at the grassroots for chairmen and councillors. Is that the way to go?
I think so. You know why I think so? Just like I said, any state, if you look with any state that a party is the governor, they take over everything.
So if INEC took over the conduct of the elections, will that change?
Yes, it will change. You know why? Let me tell you. Now, there are two things that needs to happen. The current position of the federal government, this federal government, to say that they took even the state governors to court on the autonomy of the local government. If we are able to achieve that, because over the years, a lot of presidents...
I'm going to allow you to step on your brakes for a second, because we need to take a quick break. Yeah. When we return, the conversation will continue. Please stay with us.
Is the desk on Global Television?
Nigeria. Come join Anthony Momadou on television's most compelling and facts-finding talk live show.
We are definitely. Can we not say that of because
this country gets it right?
It's the Dex on Global Television, where we analyze and dissect storming issues and commentaries in the world's biggest black nation, Nigeria.
Who is being held accountable for this money?
The eyes have it.
We stay and decide policies and reforms on the Dex. Tune in Mondays to Fridays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Global Television. Let's stay on the Dex. For an insight...
We appreciate you staying with us, everyone. So you were making a point a while ago, so would you just land on that narrative quickly? We're talking about whether or not if INEC should take over the role of states' independent electoral commissions, it would change the narrative?
Yes, like I said, it will. Because the powers that the governors wield, because governors don't do it. Okay, for instance, okay, thank God you are from Edo State. Last time elections were held, local government elections. You already know that the local government I come from, Onwa East, you can't dispute whether they won the election. in the areas Oshomole comes from, how do you say you won everything? So when you look at it, you know that yes, these are things that INEC, let the national INEC take responsibility for organizing these elections. Even if it means even if it means that INEC will now have state offices that is not under the control of the governors. You understand? So that there can be some semblance of, yes, I'm not saying that there will not be any governor or any party who would have done well and the people who wants to vote for them and they can have all. But when it becomes so recurrent, even non-performing governors are getting everything to themselves in terms of local government and council, it becomes worrisome. We truly want to build this democracy on the basis of people's choice, people's right to choice. You know, because democracy is about people's right to choice. If myself and yourself are contesting, whether you belong to party B or I belong to party Z, if the people feel that you are better than me, then that should speak through the ballot. You understand? But not because the people want you, but the governors want me. And the governor will just say anyhow, announce Comrade Abdul Wahab as the next local government chairman. Meanwhile, the people want Uyi. That's what we have been having. So I think if INEC takes over, I think it will be better for us. So that we reduce some of this power. Like I was also saying that if local government truly have autonomy and their funding from the federal government, their allocation gets directly to them without the interference of the government. Because what currently happens is that they send their money to the Joint Allocation Account Committee of the state, which the governor is the signatory for that money.
He collects on behalf of the local government councils.
Yeah, you know, he will even, when the money comes, that's okay, you come and sign. This amount that came, maybe 500 million came for you, that's okay, sign. You have signed receipt. But they will collect your overhead of your staff and they give you small thing and just, okay, hold 50 million, go. The other money are with the governor. That's the money they are using to do all manner of things. That's how they live. So this is wrong. But if local government truly gets the allocation directly, I will tell you, you will see what we used to experience those days, where you see local government having tractors working in farms, local government doing grading roads across the local government providing some basic amenities for its people, building health centers, because they now have the resources and they are truly in charge and in control of these resources. And I tell you, many people might not even want to be governors. They want to be local government champions.
Interesting.
People will be responsible.
Interesting, because what we see these days is as if local government councils can't even do beyond painting, numbering houses and all of that. I mean, they used to grade roads, they used to make roads, build markets, renovate, local healthcare centers and all of that. But we hope to return to those good days. But let's quickly turn to our second discussion right now. The narrative around June 12th, the commemoration itself, will not be complete unless, of course, we've talked about the man behind the whole idea, Chief MKO Abiola of blessed memory. It's 31 years officially tomorrow since that election was annulled, and Nigerians across board, end to end, have come to say that, look, that has become the most credible, the most transparent election in the history of this country. And then you are asking yourself, on what basis was it annulled? Of course, we've heard stories about the circumstances surrounding that very pivotal event. But today, Nigerians have not forgotten how that singular occurrence has shaped democracy in this country. So let's talk about MKO Abiola of blessed memory. Is Nigeria making him proud today when you look at the sacrifice he made to get this country to where it is now?
Honestly, if MKO can see Nigeria right now, I don't think he will be happy. Because this was a man, as at that time, he was the richest man in Africa. He was a man that held some countries' economy, for example, Gambia. He was a man that was a philanthropist to a fault. A man who contributed to building churches and building mosques. A man who defeated his arch-rival in the election in Kano. He defeated Alhaji Bashir Tofa in Kano, where he was from. This was a man who people truly voted for, not in secret, but in the open. We had what we call option A system then, where people, you just queue up behind the candidate you want. It's not secret ballot where you go and we now form our open secret. What is open secret? A secret is secret. There's no open secret. Any secret that is open, then it's not secret. Now, that was open ballot system where you queue behind the candidate you want to elect, and numbers will be counted like this. That was the first time we truly democratized elections in this country. That was the first time people came out boldly to say, this is the man we want. That was the first time Nigerians were not thinking about religion and ethnicity. That was the first time Nigeria truly were ready to say, yes, we want democracy. And if you understand the times we were truly in a serious military regime where the military men who were in power were never ready to relinquish power, but they were just playing with Nigerians. And so that is why on that day, people from all walks of life across the nation came out and they voted overwhelmingly for a man who they see as hope, and as his campaign slogan there was, Hope 93. A man who truly told us, that we can truly be independent and produce what we eat and what we can grow whatever we want.
And even export.
And export. This was a man who was ready to sacrifice, that he was the pillar of sport. A man who was single-handedly sponsoring sports, not only in Nigeria, even across other African nations. And that was why he was given that title, the pillar of sports of Africa. A man who rose to fight for reparation for Africa, single-handedly. A man who made the then Organization of African Unity to set up a commission called Reparation Commission of the OAU, and MK Abiola was the chairman. A man who was the second black man after Nelson Mandela to address a purely white British parliament on the issue of reparation. A man who traveled wide and far in this country, in the world, to fight for the downtrodden. A man who, if you meet him, you wipe out your tears. A man who was not guided by where you come from or the religion you profess. Once you have a challenge and you meet MK Abiola, your challenges are over. We were very young. I was in school. And I know how we mobilize for that elections. And I tell you, till tomorrow, we lost a president that could have reshaped and refocused this country. Maybe if MK would have been president, we would have been where we are today. Because our democracy would have started on a very good footing, where people truly spoke their mind, where people truly expressed what they wanted, where people said no, and we say no to military rule. That was the first time, and I tell you, this man has not been honored enough. Save for President Muhammadu Buhari. After all, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was our president. He's from the Southwest. He never deemed it
from the same state, even.
Yeah, he never deemed it fit to make mention, not to talk of recognizing MK Abiola as the hero of our democracy. But President Muhammadu Buhari, I must give it to him. He came and recognized MK Abiola, gave him the highest title, GCFR. And I believe, I don't know, because I don't have the information, whether he gave all the paraphernalia of a former president. Maybe the families will be receiving it, I don't know. But that singular act, and then he named the National Stadium after Chief MK Abiola. I think that's a step in the right direction. And I think we could do more. And he declared June 12th the real democracy.
Not May 29.
Not May 29. May 29 just a ceremonial day that, that's the day the president is sworn in. But he now truly made June 12th which has been the agitation of so many civil societies that June 12 should be made the Democracy Day. Muhammadu Buhari, President Muhammadu, made that possible. He declared June 12 as the Democracy Day, which is truly the Democracy Day of Nigeria. Because that is even the greatest honor to Chief MK Abiola, because he truly won this election. And you know, some years after, Professor Humphrey Wolf, who was the then ANEC chairman, came to say that MK Abiola won the election. But that was
medicine after death.
Medicine after death. And recently I heard the IBB say that he was coerced by some emirs or whatever to annul the election. You know, so these are the issues. MK Abiola, for me, has not been fully, we have not appreciated him enough. Because this man spent his hand-earned resources to do so many things for this country. And I think even the current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should do more. Let's look for another befitting national edifice to be named after Chief MK Abiola. If possible, the presidential villa should be named after him, because that is the symbol of democracy. It should be named after him, the presidential villa, that this is MK Abiola House. Yes, it's not too big, the presidential villa, because this is the man who opened our eyes to the fact that irrespective of where you come from, irrespective of your background, and if you check his background, he was from a very poor home, a man that sold firewood to be able to meet up his education. And he became one of the best accountants, a chartered accountant, the best brain. How did he get his appointment? He told he was the ICC. He wrote an exam, and he was the best. So everything about him was based on merit. And when he made his money, he came back to his country and said, let me help my country. And if you check, you realize that at that point, that time, the number of staff MK Abiola had, it was like a government on its own, because he had different establishments, from newspaper to airlines to different businesses, farms that he had. So the man was an employer of labor. And the man was a man who had passion for this country. And that was what he wanted. He said, I've attained everything. Nigeria has given me everything. Let me give back to Nigeria. And that was stopped by. That is the only thing till tomorrow. I'm not happy with President IBB. I am not. For annulling an election that all Nigerians were united to say, this is the man we want. But for some other selfish interest, you annul the election.
Is it true that the annulment of that election has occasioned a very significant proportion of voter apathy in this country? Some people say those who witnessed that incident have told themselves, I'll never vote in this country again. Is there any truth in that?
Well, you know, voter apathy can be traced to a lot of factors. First, yes, there are people, you know, there are very principled people in this country.
Right.
There are people that will say, haven't spent all our time and have hope, and you dash the hope, then there's no point. But I also want to use this media to appeal to such people, because democracy can only thrive when it is participatory.
Right.
Democracy can only thrive when people truly come in to participate actively. And there will be no democracy without the people. And you know, like, the way they describe democracy is the rule of the majority. So if the majority do not come out, then we have a challenge. Now, I tell people, yes, does it mean that because people die while flying, do we stop flying? People die in the river, for instance, do you stop drinking water? No, you can't stop. We need to continue to make the government do the right thing, to strengthen our democracy. Now, voter apathy, you know, because of performance. Okay, some people, even from the last election, some people say, oh, I won't vote again. I've met so many of them. I won't vote again. My candidate won. They didn't give this, that. You know, some people are still angry that, okay, based on that, they will vote. But I tell them, elections are only rigged and effectively rigged when you register and you don't go out to vote. They can vote on your behalf. But if 3 of us, for instance, we want to go into election, and 3 of us say we will not go out, and nobody goes out, they can't rig the election, because, of course, nobody came out. But once, if we agree, one of us goes out, then they can rig the election. Because you know why? Somebody came to vote, and it's on record that he voted. And he can decide that I voted for this or I voted. And they can even add other people to him. And because during the court case, he will be a witness. He will say, no, I was there, I voted, so person voted, so person voted. They will not go. And you know, these are the issues. Let people come out. The more we come out, the better for us.
Then there's the point some people try to make by saying that the man who is the precursor, so to say, to this democratic experience, talking about Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, came from the military background. And then you have also had former President Muhammadu Buhari doing 8 years, another retired general. They say these two individuals, as much as they tried their best to move the country from the point where they met it, also brought in military elements. For example, there was a time that the former President Muhammadu Buhari was attending an event by the NBA, the Nigerian Bar Association, and he said that the rule of law in certain circumstances, under certain circumstances, should be subject to national security. And that's actually, as it were, attracted the ire of many lawyers across this country. And people say beyond that, these two gentlemen have also created an infusion of some kind between democratic principles and their military backgrounds. Is that true?
Of course. A man has been a military man for 35 years. You know, the military is like, how will I put it? It's like, you know, there's a spirit when you join the military, because my uncle was a soldier, and I lived in the barracks. It's like something that is in the blood. When it gets it to you, it's in the blood. And these people, they are used to command and control. The military man is not that person that wants to tell you, please go and do that. He say, go and do that. He doesn't need to tell, please. There's no please, order. And they have a slogan, obey before complain. And that has been bribed into them from training, from day one through all the years they build in the military. So when they come out, that's why when they come out to civilian life, it's sometimes very difficult for them to cope, because they still keep giving orders that democratically are not carried out. Now, and that is the challenge of military. People like Obama, when they came into power, you know, you can no longer give that authority, say, go and do this. It has to go to National Assembly.
So they become constrained.
Yeah, they become constrained. But in some instances, they still, because it is part of them, you cannot take it away from them. Like the remark you referred to from former President Muhammadu Buhari. Yes, he said there are things that the rule of law, if it's going to affect national security, the national security should be taken above it. That's what he was trying to say, that the national security of the country is more important than every other thing. And you know why he's saying that? Because of his background. He's a military man. He believes that everything is about defense. You have to defend everything that concerns this country. That's how their mind has been built. That's how they have been conditioned. So they think that way. That no, you need to protect. You need to make sure that the sanctity of this country remains intact. Anything that wants to disrupt it must not be allowed to happen. But we were here in this country too. Obasanjo, if Obasanjo during his time, if he tells you, were we not here when he arranged back all the State House of Assembly members of Bayelsa, took this and they impeached the governor? That was the hand of the president.
Alameseya.
Yes, they impeached him. Were we not also here when the president will say, okay, when any Senate president does anything, before you know, they remove him? Were we not also here where even the national chairman, he was just changing them as if they were just his boys. Remove this, put this, remove this. These were authoritarian actions that in a democracy wasn't supposed to happen. The Senate president, in fact, the day he removed, before he removed Okadibo, he went to eat Paradiam in his house. And the next day, Okadibo was out as president of the Senate. You understand? So these are some of the military tendencies, elements that are in there. When they don't want to, they are very tactical in their approach. They will not talk to you that. They will be laughing with you, but they will use their men to take you off the seat. And that's what. So in his time, the Southeast who produced the Senate, president of the Senate, the whole 5 states produced president of the Senate. He started from Imo, Evans Ewere, You understand? After Evans and Were, it was Wabara that came in. Can't remember, but Wabara was from Abia. Before you know it, what's his name? Ayim Pius Ayim from Ebonyi. Then you have Ken Namani from Enugu. Then there's another one, Abia. Who was that from Abia? The five presented, the 5 states of the Southeast presented.
Produced any president?
Yeah, produced president of the Senate. In just 8 years of one regime. The same party, not different party. One party, one president. He changed the Senate president 5 times across the 5 states of the Southeast. So what I was talking about, was that democratic? No. These were presidential influence to influence the legislature, and he got his way.
So how do we strengthen our democracy on the final note? How do we make our democracy begin to work in ways that the everyday Nigerian can see the real dividends?
Nigerians must wake up, citizens. See, let me tell you, the Constitution, even as bad as it is, it has said that Section 14, subsection 2B of the Nigerian Constitution says that the primary purpose of government is the security and welfare of the people. And the same Constitution says that government derives its power from the people. Nigerian citizens need to wake up. I must be frank with you. For me, every time we talk about government, governance, I believe that the greatest problem lies in us as citizens, because we have truly not exhibited or demonstrated responsibility as a people. A people get a government they deserve.
So we deserve this one?
Yes, because we are the ones that bring the government, and we are the one that gives them power. And how do I mean? You must agree that over the years, the awareness, political awareness in this country now has risen so high. That's why you can now see that youths are now very involved in our democratic process. And now people are getting more aware. But the only thing they have failed to do is to organize. When we truly organize, I tell you, no government will fuck or will play with us. When we truly organize. When government knows, when those you elected knows that you can remove them, they will sit up. But because they know that when they come and give you small money, you look the other way and begin to sing praises. So we are still a problem. So we must stomach our hunger. Even though I know we are hungry, we must stomach our hunger to do the right thing, because the resultant effect of the right thing will fill your stomach tomorrow. But if you do the wrong thing today, just for a short time, you have this money, and before you know it, the country is bastardized. Let people truly stand up to organize. Organize ourselves. Let's know what we want. Let me tell you, for instance, in our villages, you see somebody makes money from nowhere, you don't know his source, but once he comes home, the traditional ruler gives him a title, and you know that people know that this man is a ritualist. You give him the highest title of the village. Then he becomes a model to others. Now, as I speak to you in our area, Yahoo boys are taking over everywhere. People 16, 17, 18, 20 years at most. They are driving cars of 10 million, 20 million, building houses of 100 millions. These people don't have it. They didn't even go to school. And these are the people now that are now the role models for younger ones. My small children in my village will tell me now that education is a scam. Are we not in trouble? We are. We should organize. I tell you, you see, even this record process they put for legislators or whatever, if we are organized, no matter how strenuous it is, we can recall somebody. And we have never done example to recall anybody, even when they underperform.
But there was an attempt in Kogi under former Governor Yahaya Bello.
That's what I'm saying. We are not serious. We are not. Okay, you see somebody do wrong things, some people are protesting, others will go and protest for him. So,
like a counter-protest.
Yes, a counter-protest, because we are not organized. If we are organized and have one voice, today we say, okay, look, I have always told people, I was in a forum, I said, look, the challenge we have is that we don't unite for our common problems. If we unite for our common problem, no government can withstand. Right now, Nigerians are suffering. They are hungry. If all the people, because even those in Sokoto are suffering, the ones in Edo are suffering, the ones in Enugu are suffering. It's not restricted to one region. Not that even in Lagos, people are suffering. So it's not because president is from Lagos, everybody is enjoying. It's not true. Nigeria, if we come together for our common challenges, I say let's face government. I swear government will do the right thing.
I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Abdul Wahab Ekekide, Public Affairs Analyst, for coming to share these very valuable insights with us on the program this morning. We're taking another quick break, the very last for the program this morning, but we understand Anthony Mamadou has put together for us sports updates. Enjoy it. Queen Agaba and I will be back shortly to wrap up the show for you.
Hello sports fans, welcome to Sports News Update. FIFA World Cup bronze medalist Nigeria routed Liberia 4-1 in the fast-paced FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup final qualifying round. First leg encounter in Monrovia. The Flamingos got off a pretty quick start at the Samuel Kenyon Doe Sports Complex at the Painesville, but the Liberian girls who shocked Senegal on the away goal rule to reach this final round warded off the early threats. Nigeria got the ball into the net after 14 minutes, but Chadian referee Larry Lamga ruled it off. Not to be deterred or discouraged, the Flamingos poured forward once again, and in the 19th minute, Shekirat Mushood opened the scoring from a sweet solo run. Peace Effiong, who got a brace in the 6-0 defeat of Burkina Faso at the MKO Abiola Stadium last month, scored in the 29th minute to put a wedge of respect between the two teams. Usual suspect Harmony Chidi, scorer of 6 goals of the 12 goals that sank the Central African Republic, and who equally netted 4 in the 7-1 dismissal of Burkina Faso in the last round, headed home her 11th goal of the qualifying series in the 36th minute to put the daylight between both teams. On resumption, Nigeria continued to dominate, and substitute Blessing Ifetuzu made it 4 with 16 minutes left. Liberia scored a consolation goal with 5 minutes left from the penalty spot to Hassa Guakolo after substitute Onyedikachi Ekeze was adjudged to have committed a foul in the area. Nigerian high jumper and national record holder Temitokpe Adesina is basking in the euphoria of qualifying for the Olympic Games for the first time after beating the Paris 2024 entry standard during the high jump final of the National Collegiate Athletic Association Championship in Oregon, USA. Adesina scaled the 1.97 meters height to set a new national record, meet a record personal best, and also reached the 1.97 Paris Olympics entry standard to punch her ticket in style. Having set the new indoor national record in the early days of her NCAA journey in January, the 25-year-old now holds both indoor and outdoor national records, which were previously held by Doreen Amata. Premier League giant Arsenal have reportedly dropped their interest in Napoli striker Victor Osimhen due to his €130 million price tag amid player swap rumors. After 4 successful seasons at Napoli, Osimhen is expected to call time on his career with the 2022-2023 Serie A champions this summer, as confirmed by club president Aurelio De Laurentiis. The Patanopi have fought hard to keep hold of the Nigerian international and agreed a new contract with their star striker last December, but his terms only run until summer of 2026, with Osimhen's contract also including a release clause worth around €130 million. De Laurentiis has resigned himself to losing the former Lille man to one of Europe's financial powerhouses ahead of the 2024-2025 season. Arsenal have been one of the handful of clubs steep to move for Osimhen alongside Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid, although the latter will not make any approach due to the recent capture of Kylian Mbappe. It has also been reported that new Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca is against the signing of the 25-year-old as well, as he does not believe that Osimhen is a striker who can link play and drop deep, which is one of his principal requirements. And that's how we call it a wrap on the sports news update. I am Anthony Momodu.
Thank you for staying with us. Beautiful conversation on topical issues such as democracy. But this is where we draw the curtains on Global Morning this morning. Remember, this is your #1 flagship breakfast show where we bring you highlights from the newspaper reviews to topical issues and, of course, breakfast ideas, as well as sports and, business.
Business as well, yeah. And, of course, Fatimi, we always wet our taste bud first in the morning just to give us some breakfast ideas and all that. But it's been an amazing package this morning.
Absolutely. And so thank you for joining us this morning. Do have an amazing day. From myself, Queen Agaba, and Uye Hagbomofwegwe. Do have a beautiful day ahead. See you tomorrow where you'll be joining Anthony Momodu and Jumai Manson. Goodbye.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on Global Televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point. This is business.
In an ever-busy world, the increasing challenge of keeping track of health matters can be extremely demanding. Follow the latest health tips and trends on Health Guide on Global Television on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Health Guide on Global Television. Put your health first.
Are you a food lover? Do you care about your health and nutrition? Are you interested in exploring the diverse culinary traditions from around the world? Then look no further. Introducing Lunch Global on Global Television, a show that takes you on a delicious journey through the world of food, nutrition, and diet. So, whether you're a seasoned foodie, a health enthusiast, or simply curious about the world of food, Lunch Global has something for everyone.